In a beautiful city stood one of the most respected companies in the country. It belonged to the wealthy Bennett family, a family known for its success, generosity, and strong Christian faith. The youngest son, Julian Bennett, was expected to inherit the family business. But Julian was different from what people imagined a wealthy heir would be. He dressed simply. He greeted everyone by name. He treated the company's cleaners, drivers, assistants, and executives with the same respect. Whenever someone thanked him for his kindness, Julian would smile and say, "Money can buy a house, but it can never buy a good heart." His father often watched him with pride. "Julian, one day all of this will belong to you." "Dad, then I hope I can use it to help people, not just to make more money." His father smiled. "That is exactly why I know you are ready." Across town lived Alina Miller, a young woman from a poor but loving family. Alina had never dreamed of becoming wealthy. Her dream was simple. She wanted to learn a trade, gain experience, and eventually open a small business of her own. Every morning, she worked for a small business owner who patiently taught her everything she needed to know. Alina worked hard even when she was tired. "One day I will have a place of my own." Then keep learning. Dreams become possible when you are willing to work for them. One afternoon, Julian visited the small business where Alina worked. He was there to discuss a possible partnership with the owner. Alina did not know who he was. She simply saw a young man standing quietly near the counter. "Sir, can I help you?" Julian smiled. "Actually, I think you can. I'm looking for the owner." Alina called her employer. During the meeting, Julian noticed how hard Alina worked. She was respectful, determined, and passionate about learning. Before leaving, Julian said, "You really love what you do." "I do. I'm hoping to open my own business someday." "I hope you do." That was the beginning. Julian and Alina began seeing each other more often. At first, they were simply friends. They talked about their dreams, their families, their struggles, and their faith. Alina eventually discovered that Julian came from one of the wealthiest families in the city. She became uncomfortable. "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" Julian laughed gently. "Because I wanted you to know me, not my family's money." Alina looked at him. "Most people with your kind of money wouldn't spend time with someone like me." Julian shook his head. "You're a hardworking woman with a good heart. Why would your bank account determine your value?" Alina smiled. Their friendship slowly became something deeper. Julian never tried to buy Alina's love or control her future. Instead, he encouraged her to build the life she dreamed of. When Alina finally opened her first small business, Julian was there on opening day. She looked around nervously. "What if I fail?" Julian took her hand. "Then we'll learn from it. But I believe in you." Alina smiled through tears. "Thank you for always believing in me." Julian looked into her eyes. "Alina, somewhere along the way, you became more than my friend." She already knew what he meant. Their friendship had become love. When Julian introduced Alina to his family, everyone welcomed her. His mother hugged her warmly. "We don't care where you came from. We care about the woman you are." Julian's father placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "You chose well, son." Julian smiled. "No. I was blessed." Their wedding was beautiful, but Julian and Alina wanted it to be about love rather than wealth. They invited family, friends, employees, and the people who had supported them along the way. As Julian stood at the altar, he looked at Alina and said, "I didn't fall in love with your circumstances. I fell in love with your heart. I promise to walk beside you, respect your dreams, and love you through every season of our lives." Alina answered, "And I promise to love you not because of what you have, but because of who you are." They exchanged rings. The pastor opened the Bible and read, "Above all, keep loving one another earnestly, since love covers a multitude of sins." 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 8. The couple smiled at each other. Years passed. Julian continued leading his family's company, but he never allowed wealth to change him. Elena's small business grew into a successful company of its own. Together, they built a beautiful home filled with laughter, faith, and children. Their children grew up learning that money was a responsibility, not a measure of someone's worth. One evening, Julian sat outside with his children while Elena watched from the doorway. His oldest son asked, "Dad, are we rich?" Julian smiled. He looked toward Elena and then back at his children. "Yes, we are." The children smiled. "Because we have a lot of money." Julian shook his head. "No. We're rich because we have love, family, faith, and people who care about us." Elena walked over and sat beside him. Julian took her hand. They looked at their children, laughing together under the evening sky. The family had wealth, but wealth had never become their greatest treasure. Their greatest treasure was love. And in the end, Julian and Elena discovered that the most beautiful life wasn't the one filled with the most money. It was the one filled with faith, kindness, family, and a love that money could never buy.